Welcome back to Ready, Set Geek. This is Creative Control. Debate is the centerpiece of all of geek culture. And that's what you guys are going to be doing next. And joining me to help me keep the peace and to keep you lot all honest is our resident second in command, our guy on the couch, the master of the, well actually, Mr. Bill Romango. Really, put that down.
That's what she said.
Okay.
It is, actually.
Here's how Creative Control is going to work. You will each give your answer to the chosen topic, followed by a 60-second opening argument. After that, you will each have 90 seconds to rebut the other people's arguments and to take down their choices. Then a 30-second closing argument to convince me.
Well, actually, Chris.
To convince us.
That's right.
That you have the best argument. Now, if you listen to everything I just said, I said argument, argument, argument. It's not the best answer. It is the best argument for your choices. And just so you know, if you happen to misspeak, or if you're caught lying like the dirty lying liars that you are,
That's true.
Bill will stop you with his patented,
Well, actually,
it's awfully annoying, I wouldn't go there.
Chris, it's not.
I'm so sorry. I know your mother is watching this show. We're very proud of you.
Thanks.
All right, JC, you were able to take the first point from the pitch off.
Shut up, baby, I know it.
And so you get to pick the category that everybody will be debating.
Yeah, how much do you have to pay for that point, by the way?
Whoa.
$69.
That's enough.
Relax. Here are your topics. It's time for a cage match. Claws to the wall. Let's go out to the lobby.
Bring on the cage match.
It's the cage match. The topic we will be discussing, what movie from last year would be better by casting Nicolas Cage in the lead role? We're going to get nuts. All right. JC, what is your selection?
Going slightly off book here, but Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, in which Nicolas Cage does an Eddie Murphy all of the clumps and plays every major character. As he is the only actor with
Actually, JC, we save the arguments till we hear all the answers.
I want to hear all the answers first. All right. Andrew, which movie is better by casting Nicolas Cage in the lead role?
Well, I was going to go something very similar with the comic book genre and let him fill his role. Thank you. Fill his role of Superman that was denied him earlier in Batman v Superman.
All right. Batfleck versus Cage Man. And Anthony.
I'm going to go with Wonder Woman. Not as Wonder Woman, of course, but in the role of Chris Pine. I know there was a lot of controversy. A lot of people loved the movie, but a lot of people said, still too much focus on Chris. And if there's any way to take the focus up...
Well, actually, Anthony, save the argument until the argument portion, please.
All right.
I think you did a fantastic
These
job.
kids don't know the rules.
He's here to enforce it. He's my number two. He's the shit. So,
I see what you did there.
yeah.
Bono.
All right, JC, 60 seconds on the clock. Tell us, why should Nick Cage be every single person in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2?
Well, you see, it's a fairly simple concept here, because Nick Cage is actually the only actor in the entirety of Hollywood with less acting range than Dave Bautista and a talking tree. This entire thing would be Marvel's comedic spin, just taken to the X Factor. Can you just hear, Groot, whoa, nothing will go over my head, man. And as Ego the Living Planet, the only person, granted, I grew up with a terrifying Kurt Russell. I mean, Escape from New York, Big Trouble in Little China. The only one that I would be more scared of would be Nicolas Cage in any capacity. He might be the most unhinged man in Hollywood. Terrifying. Can you see the battle between Nick Cage, Peter Quill, and Nick Cage, Ego the Living Planet, just throwing bees and wicker men at one another?
That's time.
It's time. Excellently spoken. Andrew, Nicolas Cage gets to be Superman How's it gonna work?
Well, I mean, you saw Ghost Rider. It's gonna be flawless. I don't really see the negative side to this. I mean, the guy is the personification of acting. I mean, have anybody else yell, "Killing me is not gonna bring your goddamn bees back," and it's just not gonna work. You know, but if you give him the Superman role, the movie is going to be good because the movie was not very good. But the stunning magnificence and the receding hairline that Superman should have, it's just, I mean, the guy's amazing, and he wasn't Kick-Ass, and the intimidation presence is there. He can put forward, the fighting skills. But man, if anybody's gonna rock a suit of just abs, it's Nick Cage. I mean, just think about it. Think about him flying around with package bulging through the pants, abs blaring, hairline receding.
That's your time. And I think about that.
I think about it all
A
the time.
disturbing amount my
All
day.
the time.
23 and a half of my hours.
If we can think about more package, that's all I want to get across.
I just want more Superman bulge.
You said there would be a benefits package for this.
There would. It's Nick Cage's.
It's Nick Cage's.
And it's in red tights again. All right, Anthony, 60 seconds on the clock. Wonder Woman romancing Nick Cage. Let's hear it.
So picture this. Instead of finding him unconscious on the beach, we find Nick Cage, full Con Air hair blowing in the wind, shirtless on the beach, that has never been touched by another human male. He encounters Diana, stunned. She's absolutely stunned by him. But then out of nowhere, he takes Claire Underwood's face and becomes the queen of the island. Switches. The entire movie is now switched to her queen trying to take back the island from Nick Cage, who has completely usurped control of every single Amazon. And will then, in the sequel, go to fight Nick Cage as Superman, complete with receding hairline.
Wow. You still got 10 seconds, but that's
Well, it's Cage.
Nick Cage package.
Cage section right there.
All right, so on the table, we've got Nick Cage skinning Robert Whiteman's face off. I just want to hear the Peach references to all the Themyscirians on the island.
It's like to the face.
Off.
So awful.
I enjoy this. All right, JC, we are in the rebuttal phase. Why is your pick better than these guys? You have 90 seconds. It started 22 seconds ago.
All right, first off, my pick is bigger and cagier than everyone else's picks. There's at least 9 times the Cage in this film, and more Cage sells more tickets. That's science. Fact check that one, champ.
Well, actually, that was a sound argument, so I won't.
Secondly,
Obviously, you've never seen Rage.
the Wonder Woman idea sounds like a spin-off episode of Lost that was so bad even J.J. Abrams wouldn't touch it towards the end.
You obviously have not seen Lost.
Wow.
And come on, Superman, Cage, that's not gonna work unless Kevin Smith is at the helm. That was a match made in heaven. He's the only one that could maybe make him likable in that role. That being said, Cage Quill, Cage Groot, Cage Gamora, Cage Nebula, Cage the Raccoon.
Are they going to transpose like Cage's face more as Rocket Raccoon?
I'm
now, or
imagining like a bad Conan O'Brien where you could see the mouth moving on the picture. That's all. Just a
a
close-up.
shoestring budget version of Guardians of the Galaxy. that
All the
Nick Cage
effects
made
are
in
going
his
to remain
garage.
the same, but it's going to be bigger and cagier than any other film that's been released in recent memory.
That's time.
All right. Andrew, Batman vs. Superman, you've got a hell of a fix for you. How's Nick Cage bringing it home, and why is it better than these two?
Well, I'm gonna have to give it up to both of these guys. Those were pretty great movie pitches. I would see them both. I don't think that having more Nick Cage personas in the movie is necessarily gonna steal away again from Nicolas Cage's package in the Superman outfit. Nicolas Cage turning into the face-off character again sounds brilliant, but I think at the end of the day, again, my My argument is, did you see Ghost Rider? The movie was flawless. The guy can pull off the super male character like nobody else. And
He'll be pulling off a
with
super male
Ben
character.
Affleck playing the most stellar Batman you've ever seen, okay? And the Joker can show up because the Joker is in those movies too. You might not have seen him in any of them yet. But we can definitely have him be there. But
Is this the Jared Leto?
if Nicolas
DCEU?
Cage, yeah, you know, but if Nicolas Cage is going to be flying around a city, fighting Doomsday, Wonder Woman's going to be there. We're going to have a car, which Jason Statham can be driving, bounce off of his leg into a wall.
That's a call.
Sorry.
I just don't see how this movie fails. It's too big to fail. Okay? It's too big to fail. And Nicolas Cage's package cannot fail.
That's fine.
I got something for this. Nicolas Cage.
I'm done. Sign the rights.
Too big to fail, words that have never bitten anybody in the ass. Anthony, let's hear it. 90 seconds. Why is yours better than these two?
Okay, it sounds like the Superman thing's all about the package, and my Nicolas Cage is wearing a leotard. Next question. When there's too much Cage, what do you compare Cage to? If Cage is every character, how do you know who the best Cage is? It's like when everyone's bad, you don't have anything good to compare it to. So if you have Cage, there's no comparison there. In my movie, you have Cage playing two different characters. The titular Con Air, by the way, not in either of these movies. And then you have switch crazy backwards Queen of Themyscira.
Pronounce it well. I'm proud
Thank
of
you. There's just the drama you're going to get in my movie is not going to be matched. It's not going to be matched.
So you're going to completely change the secondary plot based purely on the Cage.
Let's be
aspect.
honest. The last 15 minutes of the movie could have used more Cage.
I'm not going to argue with that, actually.
You can take her
It's
face.
implicit, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Any final arguments?
good.
All right, the
made
man
my
rests. JC, 30 seconds to bring it home. Make the final argument.
More Cage is better Cage. There's no way to go around that. Any movie, I will see the worst goddamn movie in the world
point. Rage.
if he is in it. And I will still find some way to enjoy it. Guardians, already one of my favorite movies of all time. So you put someone that I will watch in any terrible movie into a movie that's already fabulous. The only way you could possibly make it better would be to throw Walken into the mix. I mean, I would watch Cage in any role ever.
Todd. Wow. Strong closer. Andrew. Batman v Super.
I honestly think that movie would be better with him cast in that role. And that's in all seriousness. That movie was terrible. It was terrible. And Superman was stone face, and if you can make that into Nicolas Cage's face, are we face-offing again? I don't know. But anyways, he would be great. Just imagine Ben Affleck standing over him, holding the spear, and him yelling Martha, and the interaction there is just 6 to midnight. I'm sorry.
Much like me when I see Nicholas's package.
That's it.
All right, Anthony. 30 seconds. Bring it home.
So let's take this next 30 seconds to imagine a slow pan, starting at the cowboy boots in the sand, half covered, up the torn jeans, kind of tethered at the bottom, to the cowboy belt. I'd say about this big of a buckle. Abs, 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 flowing sea salt dusted hair. And we're done.
I would see that.
It's a good It is a good thing we are sitting behind a table right now.
I know. That table was not
It's
slanted.
a little bit
before.
higher.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
4 inches higher. That does not give
Not
me
in
confidence
you.
in any of you right now.
You sound like
All right, so let's talk a little bit about this. I have some interesting notes here because I think that all of these movies would be something that nobody would want to see. Anthony, I thought you actually made a really good point in JC's favor when you said that every single character played by Nick Cage would have no sort of a status of what's bad. So it kind of evens everything out. And I
It's not
thought that
bad.
kind of worked in JC's favor. What did you see in there?
I'll tell you what, the three key takeaways from this argument were package, face, and cagier. I really like that term, cagier. That's a winner. And so just because I like the term cagier, I think JC gets it, but Andrew's focus on the package and how much we talked about Nicolas Cage with his abs and his package and his flowing locks and his face coming off. It just really makes me wonder about the three we have over here. Not that there's anything wrong with
No,
it.
absolutely not.
There should be no ambiguity.
No.
No,
We are what we are.
I'm just saying.
All right.
You invite
I think
us.
we're on the same page. JC, you're starting to run away with this. Second point of the game.
Wow.
Anthony, really, really strong closer. Andrew, I'm going to have a discussion with your wife after the show is on.
She gave me the pointers, so
Yeah.
Okay.